Imagine living in a world where your inner peace isn't a rare occurrence found on vacation or in fleeting moments of quiet, but a constant state of being amidst the noise, the rush, and the relentless push of daily life. What if I told you that this isn't just a dream, but a very real possibility? Today, we're not just going to talk about how to survive in our fast-paced world. We're going to explore how to thrive in it by embracing the ancient yet ever so relevant wisdom of Stoicism. This philosophy, practiced by some of the greatest minds in history, offers us not a set of rules, but a roadmap to finding tranquility in turmoil, clarity in chaos, and joy in simplicity. From the power of now to the art of detachment, we're diving deep into 12 keys that unlock a life of stillness, mindfulness, and true contentment. Whether you're a CEO, a student, a parent, or anyone in between, these principles have the power to transform your life one mindful step at a time. So, if you're ready to challenge the status quo of constant stress and discover a more peaceful way to live, stick around, because, my friends, it's time to embark on a journey to the core of stillness, and it starts right now. And before we dive into the depths of Stoic wisdom, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs a little more zen in their life. Stick around for the whole ride without skipping. Trust me, it's more beneficial than trying to meditate in a room full of screaming toddlers. Now, let's get started. All right, diving straight into the heart of the matter with our first key. Embrace the present. Now I know what you're thinking. Great, another person telling me to live in the moment. Should I also start hugging trees and making friends with squirrels? But stick with me here, because embracing the present is about more than just smelling roses or noticing the color of the sky, though both are pretty fantastic, I must say. You see, the Stoics were onto something profound when they preached about living in the present. It's like they knew we'd be living in a world obsessed with multitasking, where you're watching a show, scrolling through your phone, eating dinner, and mentally replaying that awkward conversation from 5 years ago, all at the same time. Marcus Aurelius didn't have Netflix or smartphones, but he sure had his share of distractions. Running an empire is no small feat after all, yet he famously reminded himself to concentrate on the task at hand, to do what you're doing well, and to let everything else fall away. So, how do we apply this ancient wisdom to our modern chaos? Start by giving your full attention to whatever you're doing, even if it's as mundane as washing dishes. Feel the warmth of the water, the slipperiness of the soap. It's therapeutic, almost like giving your brain a mini vacation from its usual overthinking. This practice of mindfulness, of truly being where you are, is a game changer. It turns out life's a bit brighter when you're not constantly mentally in another place or time. And here's a fun fact to keep you motivated. Embracing the present can actually make you less likely to walk into poles or trip over flat surfaces. Not guaranteed, but it's worth a shot, right? Plus, you get to genuinely enjoy what's happening right now, because let's face it, the present is the only place where life is actually happening. The past is a memory, the future a mystery, but the now, that's where the magic happens. So let's not rush through life like we're on a supermarket sweep. Slow down, savor the moment, and maybe, just maybe, make friends with a squirrel or two. They've got some interesting stories. Moving on to our second key, simplify your surroundings. Now, before you panic and think I'm about to tell you to sell all your possessions and live in a minimalist cube, let's take a deep, calming breath. Simplification isn't about stripping down to nothing. It's about creating space for what truly matters. It's like your grandma always said, a cluttered room is a cluttered mind. Well, if she didn't say that, just pretend she did for the sake of argument. The Stoics were big fans of simplicity. They believed that by removing excess from our lives, we could get closer to the essence of true happiness and contentment. Seneca, with all his wisdom and wit, probably wouldn't have been caught dead with a closet full of togas he never wore. He'd tell you that every extra tunic is just another distraction from the pursuit of virtue. Now, I'm not saying your collection of vintage band t-shirts is a barrier to enlightenment, but there's something to be said for curating your life to include only what brings you joy and purpose. So, how do we start this grand adventure of simplification? First, take a look around. That gadget you bought from a late-night infomercial promising to change your life, but didn't, or the pile of books you're going to get around to reading someday. These are the kinds of things we're talking about. Simplifying your surroundings is about making intentional choices. It's asking yourself, does this spark joy? And yes, I borrowed that from Marie Kondo, but hey, she's onto something. Imagine your space as a reflection of your inner state. What do you want it to say about you? That you're someone who loves to hold on to the past, or someone open to the present and future's possibilities? Simplifying isn't just about physical stuff. It's about clearing out mental clutter too. It's about making room for new experiences, ideas, and a sense of peace. And let's face it, there's a certain freedom in knowing where everything is because you only have what you need. You'll spend less time cleaning, organizing, and searching for that one thing you swear was right there a minute ago. It's like giving yourself the gift of time. Time that can be spent on things that truly matter, like learning Stoicism, mastering the art of sourdough bread, or, dare I say, actually relaxing. All right, rolling right into our third gem, walk to clear your mind. Now, you might be thinking, really? Walking? What am I? A Victorian lady taking my afternoon stroll in the park. But hear me out. There's something almost magical about the act of walking, something that philosophers and great thinkers throughout history have sworn by. And no, you don't need a corset or a top hat to partake. The Stoics, in all their practical wisdom, were big advocates for walking. I mean, imagine Epictetus strolling through ancient Greece, pondering life's big questions, probably dodging donkeys and carts, but totally in the zone. Walking for him wasn't just physical exercise, it was a moving meditation, a way to commune with nature and his own thoughts. He knew that walking shakes up the snow globe of our minds, letting ideas settle and clarity emerge from the chaos. So, why does something as simple as walking have such a profound effect? Well, when we walk, we're engaging in a form of bipedal problem solving. Each step is a step away from the noise, the stress, and the endless to-do lists. It's a way to sync our body's rhythm with our mind's tumult, creating a harmony that's hard to find sitting behind a desk or staring at a screen. Plus, it's free therapy. No copay required, just a decent pair of shoes, and maybe a willingness to wave at confused neighbors, wondering why you're circling the block for the fourth time. But it's not just about physical movement. It's about where your mind wanders when you do. You see, walking is an invitation to mindfulness, to noticing the world around you, the way the leaves sound underfoot, the patterns of the clouds, the unexpected beauty in the mundane. It's in these moments, when we're fully present in our surroundings, that our minds find the space to breathe, to explore, to create and solve. And here's a little Stoic trick for your walks. Practice gratitude. With each step, think of something you're thankful for. It could be as simple as the air in your lungs or the path beneath your feet. This practice not only clears your mind, but fills your heart. aligning you with the Stoic belief in appreciating what you have here and now. So, the next time you're feeling overwhelmed, stuck, or just plain antsy, take a walk, leave your phone behind, invite your thoughts for a stroll, and just see where they take you. Who knows, you might just solve that problem that's been nagging you, or come up with the next big idea, or at the very least, you'll have gotten some fresh air. Remember, in the world of constant go, 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 sometimes the most radical thing you can do is go for a leisurely walk. And if anyone asks, just tell them you're practicing your Stoicism. They'll either be impressed or confused, but either way, you've got a great conversation starter. Next up on our philosophical hit parade is number 4, limit information intake. Now, in an era where our smartphones are practically glued to our hands, and we're bombarded with more information before breakfast than a medieval peasant encountered in a lifetime, this might sound like I'm suggesting you move to a cabin in the woods and renounce society. While that's an option, and hey, Thoreau kinda dug it, it's not quite what we're aiming for. You see, the Stoics were all about guarding the fortress of their minds. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, wasn't scrolling through Roman Twitter getting updates on the latest chariot races or gladiator gossip. He understood something crucial. Our attention is a precious commodity, and where we choose to focus, it can dramatically impact our inner peace and clarity. In Stoic terms, it's about exercising control over what we can, namely, our reactions and where we direct our mental energy. Can you control the ceaseless flow of news, the endless opinions, and the constant barrage of advertisements? Not really. But you can control how much of it you let into your life and how you let it affect you. So how do we apply this ancient wisdom in a world where being uninformed can feel like a social faux pas? Start by becoming a curator of your own attention. Treat your mind like an exclusive club where not every piece of information gets past the velvet rope. Ask yourself, does this serve me? Does it bring value? Or is it just adding to the noise? Try a little experiment. For 1 week, be deliberate about your information consumption. Choose 1 or 2 trusted news sources and limit your checking to once a day. Notice how you feel. Are you less anxious, more focused? Is the world still spinning without your constant vigilance? Spoiler, it is. And here's where the humor comes in. Imagine if Seneca had a Facebook account. You'd probably see him posting philosophical memes about the brevity of life and the importance of virtue, unfollowing anyone who's too into posting about their lavish Roman feasts or the latest gossip from the Senate. Limiting information intake isn't about sticking your head in the sand. It's about reclaiming your mental space so you can focus on what truly matters to you. It's about quality over quantity, depth over breadth. And in doing so, you might just find that the world becomes a bit quieter, your thoughts a bit clearer, and your life a bit calmer. Sliding smoothly into key number 5, let's chat about practice daily journaling. Now, before you roll your eyes and mutter, "What am I? A moody teenager with a diary?" Let me stop you right there. Journaling, my friends, is one of those secret weapons that the Stoics wielded like philosophical ninjas to slice through the clutter of their minds and get to the heart of what matters. Epictetus, our Stoic buddy, probably didn't have a glittery journal with a lock on it, but he definitely understood the power of reflecting on his day, his choices, and his thoughts. Imagine him, by the light of an oil lamp, jotting down insights from the day, or pondering over the areas where he could improve. This wasn't about navel-gazing or self-obsession. It was about growth, clarity, and understanding oneself, better in the pursuit of virtue. So, why journal? Picture this. Your mind is like a bustling city. Thoughts are the citizens, emotions are the weather, and your consciousness is the mayor trying to keep it all in check. Journaling is like holding a town hall meeting where everyone gets to speak their piece, and you, the mayor, get to understand the state of your inner world. It's a check-in with yourself, a way to declutter your mental landscape, and a method for untangling the knots in your psyche. And here's where it gets fun. Your journal doesn't have to be a solemn tome where you only discuss life's big questions. It can be a place for humor, creativity, and even the odd doodle of your pet as a Roman senator. The key is honesty and reflection. Had a bad day? Scribble it down. Overcame a challenge. Celebrate it on paper. Puzzled over a decision. Lay out the pros and cons. The act of writing it down creates distance, allowing you to see your thoughts and emotions from a new perspective. But what would a Stoic say about our modern tendency to overshare on social media? Probably something like, why shout into the void when you can whisper into the pages of a journal? See, the beauty of a journal is its confidentiality. It's a judgment-free zone where you're free to express, question, and explore without concern for likes, comments, or retweets. Here's a little exercise to get you started. Every evening, jot down 3 things you did well that day and 1 thing you could improve. It's a simple practice that aligns beautifully with the Stoic focus on self-improvement and gratitude. Plus, it's incredibly satisfying to look back over time and see how far you've come. So, grab a notebook and pen, or tablet if you're digitally inclined, and start journaling. Think of it as a daily meeting with the most important person in your life, you. And who knows, you might just stumble upon insights and ideas that could change your life. Or at the very least, you'll have a detailed account of that time you tried to make sourdough and accidentally created a biohazard. Either way, it's a win. All right, easing into our 6th slice of wisdom pie. Cultivate a quiet time routine. Now, in our world that's buzzing louder than a beehive on an espresso shot, carving out a slice of quiet might seem as likely as teaching your cat to do your taxes. But let's channel our inner Stoic sage for a moment and explore why silence isn't just golden, it's downright transformative. Consider our friend Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor. Picture him, the most powerful man in the known world, taking a moment each day to sit in silence, reflect, and write in his journal. If a guy with the weight of an empire on his shoulders can find a few moments of peace, we can certainly give it a shot, right? He wasn't doing this because he had spare time. He was doing it because he knew this quiet time was crucial for maintaining his sanity and perspective. So, what's the big deal about quiet time? Imagine your mind as a crowded market, with each thought shouting to be heard over the din. Now, imagine turning down the volume, letting the hustle and bustle fade away until there's just silence. It's in this silence that we can hear ourselves think, feel our own presence, and get back in touch with what's genuinely important. Creating a quiet time routine doesn't mean you have to sit cross-legged on a mountaintop at dawn, though if that's your thing, go for it. It's about finding a time and space where you can be with your thoughts without interruption. This could be a morning meditation, an evening walk without your phone, or simply sitting with a cup of tea and watching the world go by your window. The key is consistency and intentionality, and let's face it, in the age of constant connectivity, choosing to disconnect is a radical act. It's like telling the world, hold on, I need a minute. And in that minute, you're not just avoiding burnout, you're recharging, realigning, and, in a very Stoic sense, preparing yourself to face whatever the day throws at you with equanimity and grace. Here's where we can sprinkle in a bit of humor. Imagine explaining to a Stoic like Epictetus the concept of quiet time in today's terms. You might say, it's when we deliberately do nothing amidst a world that's constantly doing something. And he'd probably nod sagely and say, so, you're finally catching on, who? But how do you start? Begin by setting aside just 5 minutes a day for your quiet time. Find a comfortable spot where you won't be disturbed and do nothing. Just breathe, observe, and be. You'll be amazed at how something so simple can feel so revolutionary. So, embrace the silence, my friends. Make it your ally. In the quiet, you'll find strength, clarity, and perhaps even a bit of wisdom waiting for you. And who knows, maybe after a few sessions of quiet time, you'll be ready to tackle those tax forms after all. Or at the very least, you'll be better equipped to handle whatever else life decides to throw your way. Marching on to lucky number 7, discover the joy in detachment. Now, before you think I'm suggesting you become a hermit and renounce all your worldly possessions, let's clear the air. We're not talking about detachment as a cold, indifferent state, but rather a liberating way to engage with the world. It's like deciding to enjoy a roller coaster without clutching the safety bar until your knuckles turn white. Sure, the ride's the same, but you're not coming off it with a stress-induced cramp. The Stoics, those ancient masters of cool under pressure, had a pretty solid take on this. They loved the idea of participating fully in life, yet not getting overly attached to outcomes. Marcus Aurelius, in between running the Roman Empire and fending off barbarian invasions, found time to ponder this balance. He'd probably say, do your best, then go with the flow. The universe has got this. Detachment, Stoic style, is about enjoying the play of life without getting too caught up in the drama. It's acknowledging that we can control our efforts, but not always the outcomes, and that's perfectly okay. This doesn't mean you care any less about what you're doing. It means you're not letting the success or failure of your actions dictate your happiness or self-worth. Imagine telling a Stoic philosopher about our modern anxieties, worrying about likes on social media, stressing over email responses, or losing sleep over things beyond our control. They'd probably give a knowing smile and a gentle reminder, why let something outside of your control disturb your peace? So, how do we cultivate this joyful detachment? Start small. Choose something you usually get worked up over. Maybe it's traffic or long lines at the coffee shop. Next time you're in that situation, take a deep breath and say to yourself, this is out of my control. I choose to stay calm. It's like mental judo. You're using the force of your acceptance to stay balanced. And here's a fun exercise to drive the point home. Next time you're at a party or gathering, observe how people, including yourself, react when things don't go as planned. Someone spills a drink, the music cuts out, or the food arrives late. Notice the range of reactions, from frustration to laughter. Then ask yourself, how can I respond with detachment and grace? It's not about not caring, it's about choosing where to invest your energy. The joy in detachment lies in the freedom it brings. Suddenly, you're not a puppet on the strings of external circumstances. You're the puppeteer, choosing how to respond, how to feel, and what to let go of. And in that freedom, there's a profound peace and, yes, even happiness. All right, moving on to our 8th slice of Stoic wisdom pie. Engage in creative hobbies. Now, before you protest, saying you can't even draw a stick figure without causing a minor art crisis, let me assure you, creativity isn't just about painting masterpieces or composing symphonies. It's about finding joy in creation, in whatever form that takes for you. It could be baking a loaf of bread, knitting a wonky scarf, or even choreographing a dance to your favorite song when no one's watching. The point is, it's the act of creating that counts, not the outcome. You see, the Stoics were all about living in accordance with nature, and what's more natural than creating? We humans are born makers, tinkerers and storytellers. Even Seneca, between advising the emperor and contemplating life's bigger questions, took time to engage in writing. Not just lofty philosophical treatises, but also plays and letters that explored the human condition in all its messy glory. Creative hobbies are our way of echoing the Stoic practice of reflection and mindfulness, but with a twist of fun. They allow us to step out of our daily grind and into a space where we can experiment, play, and express ourselves freely. It's in these moments of unbridled creativity that we often find clarity and insights, solving problems not by obsessing over them, but by letting our minds wander through the act of creation. Imagine explaining to Epictetus the concept of adult coloring books as a form of relaxation. He'd probably chuckle and say, "So, you've rediscovered the joy of playing like children, have you? It took you long enough." And he'd be right. Engaging in creative hobbies is a way to reconnect with the simple joy of making something, anything, with our own two hands. So how do you start? First, pick something that intrigues you, no matter how silly or insignificant it might seem. Always wanted to learn how to juggle? There's no time like the present. Intrigued by pottery? Get your hands dirty and give it a whirl. The key is to approach it with the curiosity of a Stoic philosopher encountering a new idea, open-minded, eager to learn, and detached from the need for perfection. Engaging in creative hobbies offers a break from the incessant noise of productivity and performance that defines much of our lives. It's a reminder that sometimes the most productive thing you can do is create something with no purpose other than to bring you joy. And now we wade into the waters of our ninth key: exercise mindfully. Before you groan and flash back to those traumatizing gym class memories where the dodgeball felt like a missile of doom, let's take a different angle. Exercise, in the Stoic view, isn't about punishing your body into submission or sculpting those Greek god abs, though, admittedly, the Stoics and Greeks were onto something with their admiration for physical fitness. It's about harmonizing the body and mind, treating them as allies in your quest for a well-lived life. You see, the Stoics understood that a sharp mind resides best in a healthy body. Marcus Aurelius, despite his imperial duties and existential broodings, made time for physical exercise. Picture him, the ruler of the Roman Empire, doing his version of morning stretches, or perhaps a brisk walk around the palace gardens, contemplating the impermanence of life. He knew that physical vitality was crucial for mental clarity and emotional resilience. Mindful exercise is about engaging in physical activity with intention and awareness. It's running while feeling the wind against your face and listening to the rhythmic pattern of your breath. It's practicing yoga and being fully present in each pose, noticing how your body feels and where your mind wanders. It's about finding joy in movement and gratitude for what your body can do, rather than berating it for its limitations. Imagine a Stoic joining a modern gym and encountering all the high-tech fitness gadgets. They might chuckle and opt for a simple jog in the park, marveling at the complexity we've added to something as natural as moving our bodies. They'd likely remind us that the purpose of exercise isn't to compete with others or chase after an idealized image, but to build strength, endurance, and peace of mind. So, how can you incorporate mindful exercise into your life? Start by choosing activities that you genuinely enjoy. If the thought of running makes you want to hide under the bed, Don't force it. Maybe you love dancing, swimming, or even vigorous gardening. Whatever gets your heart pumping and brings a smile to your face. The key is to be fully present during the activity. Notice the sensations in your body, the thoughts that come and go, and the feelings that emerge. It's about connecting with yourself, not escaping. And here's a bit of humor to keep in mind. If a Stoic philosopher attended a modern spin class, they might wonder why everyone's racing, but no one's moving forward. They'd remind us that the real progress isn't measured by the distance we travel, but by the journey inward. Exercise mindfully is a celebration of life, a way to honor the incredible machine that is our body with movement that enriches not just our physical health, but our mental and emotional well-being too. So let's lace up those sneakers, unroll that yoga mat, or simply take a brisk walk. And remember, every step, every breath, every stretch is a step closer to the Stoic ideal of a balanced, harmonious life. All right, striding confidently into our 10th key, reflect on your inner strength. This isn't about flexing in the mirror and admiring your biceps, though feel free if that's your thing. We're diving deeper into the realm of mental and emotional fortitude, the kind that the Stoics championed like no other. They were the ancient world's equivalent of mental gymnasts, turning flips and somersaults over life's hurdles with a calm smile and a sage nod. The Stoics, with their profound understanding of human nature, recognized that our greatest resource in facing life's ups and downs was not external wealth, status, or even physical strength, but the resilience and power that reside within us. Seneca, amidst his advising and playwriting, would often muse on the concept of inner strength. He'd probably say something like, "Fortune may take away my wealth, but she can't touch my mojo." Well, not in those exact words, but you get the gist. Reflecting on your inner strength is about acknowledging and tapping into that well of resilience that we all possess. It's about recognizing that, yes, life will throw curveballs, some the size of small planets, but within us is the capacity to catch them, juggle them, or dodge them gracefully. This inner strength is what allows us to face challenges head-on, to stand firm in the midst of chaos, and to find peace even when the ground seems to shift beneath our feet. Imagine a Stoic in the modern world, faced with the daily grind, the relentless news cycle, and the never-ending barrage of emails and notifications. They'd likely remind us that while we can't control the external whirlwind, we can control our response to it. They'd encourage us to take a moment, perhaps with a cup of something warm, to reflect on our past victories. Those moments when we thought we couldn't go on, but did, and not just survived, but thrived. How do you start this reflection? Set aside a few minutes each day to think about the challenges you've overcome, the fears you've faced, and the growth you've experienced. Write them down, talk about them, or just ponder them over a morning coffee. The key is to make it a habit, a daily reminder that no matter what life throws at you, you have a core of steel, wrapped in velvet perhaps, but steel nonetheless. Reflecting on your inner strength is not just about building self-confidence. It's about cultivating a deep, unwavering knowing that whatever happens, you've got this. It's about preparing yourself not just for the battles you can foresee, but for the unexpected skirmishes that life loves to surprise us with. Alrighty, let's march on to our 11th key. Prioritize calmness in decision-making. Now, before you think I'm suggesting you become some Zen master, levitating above your problems while making life-altering choices, let's get real. We're talking about bringing a slice of Stoic chill to the often heated kitchen of decision-making. Because let's face it, making decisions in the heat of the moment usually ends up about as well as microwaving foil. Sparks fly, and nobody's happy. The Stoics, with their cool heads and clear minds, were the ancient world's champions of reasoned and balanced decision-making. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, didn't lead Rome on whims. He pondered, reflected, and sought wisdom before making his moves. Imagine him today, faced with our constant barrage of choices, from the trivial, "Should I have oat milk or almond milk in my coffee?" to the life-changing. He'd probably advise us to take a breath, step back and look at the situation with the detachment of a philosopher king choosing the fate of nations, not just dairy alternatives. Prioritizing calmness in decision-making means acknowledging the pressure cooker, but refusing to let it dictate your choices. It's about recognizing that while some decisions are urgent, few are so immediate that they can't benefit from a moment of pause. It's in this pause that clarity emerges, like the sun after a storm, allowing us to see the best path forward, not just the most urgent or noisy one. Imagine the Stoics in today's world, bombarded with notifications, emails, and the endless din of social media. They'd probably see our digital dilemma as just another arena to apply their principles. What's the rush? They might ask, sipping their metaphorical Stoic tea. Will this decision matter in a year, 5 years, a decade? They'd remind us that the urgency we feel is often a construct, a product of our hyper-connected, always-on culture. So, how do we start? Next time you're faced with a decision, big or small, give yourself the gift of time, even if it's just a few deep breaths. Ask yourself, what would a Stoic do? Consider the impact of your choice, not just in the immediate moment, but down the line. Consult your values, your inner compass, and when you do make your choice, do so with the confidence that comes from thoughtful consideration, not panicked reaction. Prioritizing calmness in decision-making doesn't mean we'll always make the right choice, but it does mean we'll make our decisions with a clearer mind, a steadier hand, and a heart less burdened by the what-ifs. And in the end, that's all we can really ask for. Remember, the goal isn't to avoid mistakes, it's to make decisions that, win or lose, we can stand by with integrity, knowing they were made with the best of our knowledge and the fullness of our hearts. So, let's channel our inner Marcus Aurelius, take a breath, and face our decisions with the calm clarity of a Stoic sage. And here we are at the grand finale, our 12th key: embrace stillness as a daily practice. Now, before you start envisioning yourself as a statue, unmoving for hours on end and scaring the neighborhood kids, let's clarify what we mean by stillness. This isn't about physical inactivity, but about cultivating a serene mind amidst life's ceaseless whirlwind. It's finding that eye of the storm where you can stand firm, unfazed by the chaos swirling around you. Imagine, if you will, a Stoic version of mindfulness, but with less emphasis on Instagrammable yoga poses and more on the profound inner tranquility that comes from a well-ordered life. The Stoics, our ancient pals of peace, saw stillness not as a luxury, but as a necessity. Marcus Aurelius, between battles and bouts of plague, sought stillness to anchor his soul. Seneca, amidst his political dramas and exiles, found refuge in the stillness of thought. They knew life was tumultuous, but within a sanctuary could be found, a place of calm clarity from which to view the world and one's place in it. Embracing stillness as a daily practice means making a deliberate effort to pause, to breathe deeply, and to clear the clutter from our minds, even if just for a moment. It's about recognizing that in the grand symphony of existence, there's beauty in the rest notes, the moments of silence that give shape to the melody. Now, incorporating humor, imagine trying to explain the concept of daily stillness practice to a Stoic. They might chuckle and say, So you finally realize that running around like a headless chicken isn't the path to wisdom. They'd probably remind us that stillness isn't something you do, but something you are. It's less about adding another task to our to-do lists, and more about changing how we engage with the tasks we already have. So, how does one begin? Start simple. Find moments throughout your day for a mini mental reset. A deep breath before starting your car, a mindful sip of coffee before diving into emails, or a quiet moment of gratitude before bed. These tiny pauses are like punctuation marks in your day, giving rhythm and flow to the ceaseless sentences of activity. And let's face it, in a world that celebrates busyness as a badge of honor, claiming stillness is a rebellious act. It's like saying, "No, I won't be swept up in the current of constant doing. I choose to anchor myself in the now, to find joy and purpose in the simplicity of being." It's a powerful statement, one that the Stoics would nod approvingly at, perhaps with a wry smile and a twinkle in their eye, recognizing a fellow traveler on the path to serenity. Embracing stillness isn't about detaching from life, but about engaging with it more fully, more deeply. It's realizing that amidst the noise and haste, there's a wellspring of peace within us, waiting to be tapped. So, let's make a pact to seek out stillness, to cultivate it within our hearts and minds, and to let it guide us through the tumult of life with grace, wisdom, and a good dose of Stoic humor. Because in the end, it's in the quiet moments that the true melody of life emerges, clear and beautiful, reminding us of the wonder of existence and our place within it. And there you have it, my friends, 12 keys to unlocking a life of purpose, peace, and perhaps a little Stoic wisdom. Remember, this journey isn't about perfection. It's about progress, about taking one step at a time towards a more meaningful and tranquil existence. So, take these keys, use them well, and let's walk this path together with a smile on our lips and a lightness in our hearts. As we close this chapter together, I want you to remember that the journey towards embracing these Stoic principles isn't about reaching a destination. It's about the path we walk every day, the choices we make, and the moments of stillness we cultivate amidst the chaos of life. Like the Stoics, we're not just seeking tranquility. We're striving to live fully, deeply, and meaningfully, no matter what the world throws our way. So, take a deep breath, smile at the beauty of existence, and remember, you have the strength, the wisdom, and the courage within you to face life with grace and humor. And now, if you found a spark of inspiration or a moment of clarity in our journey today, I invite you to dive deeper into the world of Stoicism and personal growth. On the screen, you'll see a playlist curated just for you, filled with insights, reflections, and perhaps a few more laughs, all designed to guide you further down this path of discovery. So go ahead, click on the playlist, and let's continue this adventure together, exploring the timeless wisdom that can help us live our best lives in the here and now. Thank you for joining me today, and remember, in the pursuit of wisdom, every step counts. See you on the path, my friends.